Howdy, this video we will be covering graphing of linear equations. We'll first graph our equations with the help of graphs, then we'll take our graphs and work backwards to create an equation. So graphing linear equations. So let's say we're given an equation y equals mx plus b. In order to graph the equation, we will first start with the y-intercept, and then we'll work our slope up or down the graph. Just FYI, by using a chart, it helps to plot your graph. Here's our graph, and let's say we have an equation y equals 2x minus 6. So starting with the y-intercept, thinking back to the last video, anything we add or subtract is our y-intercept. So b will be negative 6. So let's go ahead and plot that really quick. So b equals negative 6. Let's go down our y-axis 6 times. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Now, let's take our slope, which is whatever is in front of our x. So m equals 2. And let's use our phrase rise over run. So rise over run. But we have a problem here. This is a whole number, and this looks like a fraction. So how do we turn 2 into a fraction? Really difficult concept, took me forever to learn and ask myself, but all you have to do to turn 2 into a fraction is just put a 1 over it. So we're going to rise 2 and run once. So let's start from a negative 6 and go up 2 and go to the right 1. We're going right instead of left because it's a positive slope. If it was a negative slope, we would go here instead. But since it's positive, we're going to the right, so up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1, up 2, right 1. Y'all get it, right? So then let's connect our dots. Okay, and that is what our graph will look like. Okay, so let's focus on these next two equations. Alright, we have y equals negative 2x plus 3 and y equals 1/3 x plus 4. Usually I like to start with the x coordinates being negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. Let's just make it a really good range from here to here that we can plot our points. So first, let's find our slope. And our slope will be whatever is in front of x. So our slope will be negative 2. Y-intercept is whatever we're adding or subtracting, which is positive 3. So now that we have our slope and y-intercept, let's use our chart. Let's plug in our negative 2 to our equation. So what is negative 2 times negative 2? So we're going to have y equals negative 2 times negative 2 plus 3. So negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4 plus 3. And 4 plus 3 is 7. So y equals 7. Plug that in right there. Okay, now we have negative 1. Let's plug in negative 1. So we're going to have y equals negative 2 times negative 1 plus 3. Negative 2 times negative 1 is positive 2 plus 3, and that will be 2 plus 3 is 5. So y equals 5. Now let's use x equals 0, so we're going to have y equals negative 2 times 0 plus 3 equals, what's negative 2 times 0? 0 plus 3, so y equals 3. So let's plug that in right here. Okay, so real quickly, I know y'all can figure this out. Let me just erase this real quick. This will be 1, and this will be a negative 1. Okay. So let's plot our points. So we have x is negative 2 and y is 7, so negative 2, 7. Where is that? So negative 2, right here, and 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. We we have negative 1, 5. So negative 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 0, 3, 0, 3, and then 1, 1, 1, 1, and then 2, negative 1. So 2, negative 1. So that those are our points. So let's connect the dots. Offlap this. Okay. Okay, so there is our line. Sorry it's so sloppy. I know I can do better, but let's see if I can do better on this next graph. So now we have graphed our equation for y equals negative 2x plus 3. Moving on to y equals 1/3 x plus 4. Pretty much let's find our slope. So our slope is whatever is in front of our x. So slope will be 1/3. And our y-intercept is whatever we add or subtract to our equation, which is positive 4. Okay, so we have our fraction 1/3 for our slope. So let's choose some points that go well with 1/3. So those points will be something that's easily divisible by 3. So what numbers are those? That would be 9, 6, 3, 12, 15. Let's go ahead and be simple with this. Let's do negative 6, negative 3, 0, 3, and 6. So let's plug these points into our equation. So let's go negative 6 first. So y equals 1/3 times negative 6 plus 4. What is 1/3 times negative 6? So we're going to have negative 6 divided by positive 3. That is negative 2 plus 4. And that equals 2. And so let's put y equals 2. Now for x equals negative 3, let's do 1/3 times negative 3 plus 4. So 1/3 times negative 3, that will equal negative 3/3, and so then that will be negative 1 plus 4, and that equals 3. Let's go on to x equals 0. Okay, let's go over to the corner right here. Okay, so y equals 1/3 times 0 plus 4 equals 0 times 1/3. What is that? 0. So 0 plus 4 equals 4. Good. And then, so plug that in. And I'll just go ahead and finish these last two up. So that'll be 5 and that'll be 6. So let's go ahead and plot our points. So we have negative 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, positive 2. Negative 3 and positive 3. 0 and 4. 3 and 5. And 6 and 6. Let's connect our dots. And there we go. That's done. Let's see. What is next? Alright, so sometimes you'll be asked to find the slope given 2 points on a line. This is where the change of y over change of x comes into play. So given 2 points from a line, x1 and y1 and x2 and y2, we're going to find slope by the equation m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, because change in y equals y2 minus y1, and change in x equals x2 minus x1. So let's say we have the points -1, 0, and 2, 3 on a graph, and we want to find the slope between these 2 points. So let's use our equation, which was given right here. So it's going to be m equals y2 minus y1. So let's go ahead and label these. So this will be x1, y1, and this will be x2, y2. So y2 minus y1 on top. So 3 minus 0 over 2 minus negative 1. Alright, so then that will equal, what's 3 minus 0? 3 minus 0 is just 3. Here's something tricky, 2 minus a negative 1. So pretty much, if we have two negatives, we can turn them into positives. So 2 plus 1 is 3. So 3 divided by 3 is just 1. So our slope is 1. Let's go on to the next slide. We'll be working backwards from a graph and finding the equation. So let's first find our slope. We're going to take 2 points on our graph. We can say, let's use these 2 points, our y-intercept and our x-intercept. And then let's find m from that. So our equation is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Our 2 points, this point here, is 0, 4. And this point here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, negative 8, 0. So let's say this is x1, y1, and this one is x2, y2. Now we're going to plug these into our equation. So y2, which is 0, minus y1, which is 4, all over x2, which is negative 8, minus x1, which is 0. That gives us negative 4 over negative 8. What happens when we have a negative over negative? It becomes positive. So we'll have 4 over 8. And 4 over 8 reduces to, how many times does 4 go into 8? It goes into it twice. So we'll have 1 over 2 being our slope. Next, let's find our y-intercept. And oh, we've already found it. It's right here. And what point was that? That was the point 0, 4. Okay, so our point is 0, 4, so our y-intercept will be b equals 4. Alright, so let's use what we just found to make our equation. So our slope was equal to 1/2, and our y-intercept was equal to 4. Now, using our standard equation, y equals mx plus b. Let's plug in our m and plug in our b, and we'll have y equals 1/2 x plus 4. Let's go ahead and find our linear equations real simply. Let's use our 2 intercepts, so y-intercept and our x-intercept. This point will be 0, 4, and this point will be 2, 0. So let's use our slope equation. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And using our points, let's label our points. So we're going to have x1 and y1 and x2 and y2. So y2 is 0, so 0 and y1 is 4 minus 4. x2 is 2 and x1 is 0, so 2 minus 0. So 0 minus 4 is negative 4, and 2 minus 0 is 2. Reducing that, we're going to have negative 2 over 1, which is just negative 2. Alright, so we found our slope. Let's put that right here. Slope equals negative 2. Now for our y-intercept, it's really easy. We've already found it. It's right here. So our b will equal 4. Put that right here. Now let's write down our standard equation again. So y equals mx plus b. Let's put this b here and this m here. And we have our equation. Y equals negative 2x plus 4. That's all, folks. So remember to take your notes. Don't forget to take your notes. I'll be grading those every single day. And I'll see you all in class.